Now Pedersen the blast. Oh, that hit Provo. Diving save. Hart as he flashes across. Briere sets up Carl. Side of the net. Deflected. Score! Briere moving in. Stop. Cuts to the middle. Still has it. Shot! Score! Here's Hughes giving it across. Oh, save! Save by Maher! Got it to him. He's an angle. Short-handed mid. He scores! Up top, cruising is Provorov. He scores! Ivan Provorov!
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Fired Up Podcast. I'm your host, Amedeo and Grassia, along with my partner, Chris Maher. We are live streaming always on the Painted Lines, TTP Sports and Flyers Fan Mania 93. And if you can't tune into the podcast live, it will always be on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts at. And breaking news from Chris Maher, he got a new mug before we started our podcast.
Yeah, as soon as Amedeo goes, all right, I'm going to go live. I was like, oh, and I got a new mug. He goes, and then the intro starts playing. So that was funny. I kind of sat there and I was like kind of just laughing. Like, that was funny.
Yeah, that was perfect timing too. I hit the live button. And I'm like, Chris, don't you dare say something.
Yeah, and then of course I said something. So probably all you see in the beginning as you open this is me put up my mug, and then the intro starts playing. So
yeah, it's always weird when you start the live stream because it's it'll show if you don't do it quick enough, it'll show you like for a quick second, like even before it tells you a lot. It's a weird process, but yeah, I guess regardless on that, it's a nice mug. I'll give you that. It's
it is. Yeah, mug. It is a nice. Yeah, it's a nice mug. Yeah. There you go.
Oh boy, what a start to the afternoon, and hopefully, I know it's like a couple of days off from the weekend, but hopefully everyone enjoyed their 4th of July weekend. Whatever you did, went down the shore, just enjoyed your house barbecuing, watching some sports, Stanley Cup Finals, NBA playoffs, the Phillies pounding the Chicago Cubs. Hopefully everyone enjoyed your weekend. What is going on, everyone? What's going on, Ed? What's going on, Flyers card collector? It's a very hot day too. What is it like going up to 95 or something?
It's I was just outside. It was let me look at the weather app here. 91. It's a little with some rain later from 4 o'clock on, but yeah.
Brutal.
It's supposed to be 93 is the high.
Brutal.
Tomorrow's gonna be 95. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, you're not going to catch me going outside anytime soon until the weather calms down a little bit. I hate the heat.
Yeah, 95, 90, and then low 80s, and then back up to 90s again. But
yep,
that's the summer for you.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. And I guess going on some topics for today, we got Stanley Cup Finals, and thankfully Montreal won yesterday, and they pushed it to a Game 5 because honestly, I did not want to see a sweep. I want as much hockey as possible. Thank God Montreal did extend the series. And then you also got some more Flyers talk as usual. Seth Jones, Flyers could be one of the favorites for Seth Jones, and also something interesting that we could bring up a little later. Our own Tyson Quabell, he put out his final draft rankings for this year's NHL draft, so we can go over that. If you want to check that out, people. It's also on thepaintedlines.com, so everyone can go check that out. But we'll talk into that a little bit later. So what do you want to do, Chris? Do you want to start Stanley Cup Finals, or do you want to start Seth Jones talk?
I was going to say we start Finals, but I also wanted to bring up the Blue Jackets goaltender. Just a quick thing for that, because that's just unbelievably sad, and it's just one of them things where it's like I don't really know how to describe it, but it's one of them things where like you never know when things like that can happen, and I can't even think of words to describe the things that the family and stuff are going through. So last night they did the tribute for them, the 80-second tribute last night before Game 4, which was really cool because he wore number 82, so they did an 80-second tribute for him wearing number 80. So that was really cool, and just a quick thing, and obviously rest in peace to him too, because it was it's so sad. It's such a traumatic thing that happened.
Yeah, definitely. All the prayers and everything sent out to Kevlenek's family, his mother, the Columbus Blue Jackets organization. Like, that's just, it's another young athlete gone so soon, and it's just by a freak accident. Like it was something that was out of everyone's control, and it sucks to see. And like, I know it was like talked about, it was like a head injury that he suffered, but no, it was an accident from a firework malfunction, and it hit him in the chest.
Yeah, they said it was a head injury at first from a fall. Then the autopsy came out, and they said it was a chest injury from a firework. So I know there's been some crazy stuff with fireworks with athletes. I know there's a guy on the Giants, Jason Pierre-Paul. He lost a couple fingers from a firework accident.
Yeah.
That was a couple years ago, right?
I think so.
Yeah. I know there's been some crazy stuff with that. I think he only has like 2 fingers left on his one hand.
I think
something like that. Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure about that. I remember that story happening. I just don't remember how many fingers he lost. And honestly, I wouldn't blame the NHL if, like, for like out of due respect, like especially for the upcoming expansion draft, they like either they just hold out Columbus or they just like hold out the requirements for a goaltender, because I know like in that entire scenario, it's probably tough for the Columbus Blue Jackets to even like process that entire situation.
And that's the thing. It's such a shame with, the Blue Jackets didn't have the best season and everything, and then they have this in the off season. It's like, oh my gosh, it's terrible.
Yeah, and it's like I hate to tie it into this type of subject too, but it's like when you go in towards the expansion draft, I think Kivlenix was the guy that they probably would have exposed, because I think Lincoln's is exempt from the expansion, and Korpisalo, you would think would be the guy they would have protected. But now they're just in an entirely tough situation, and I wonder if the NHL will just, out of due respect, just have them not worry about a goaltender at all, which would probably be a nice touch for them just to not worry about it.
Yeah.
So we'll see as the days goes along, and let's see what happens. But same thing, all the prayers sent out to the Blue Jackets, Kivlenix family, and everything. It's just another athlete gone way too soon. But I guess to get into the brighter topics, we'll get into the Seth Jones talk a little later. But let's go into the Stanley Cup Finals, because just this entire finals at first, kind of a snooze, because you got Tampa winning 3 straight. They have a chance to clinch the Stanley Cup. I would say yesterday was probably the only exciting game out of this entire finals, because Game 1, Tampa basically dominated. Game 2, Montreal was the better team.
Game 2 was a shit kick. Or Game 1.
Yeah, Montreal in Game 2. They played us. They probably deserved to win, but Tampa Bay just keyed off of so many mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, Tampa couldn't have played any worse, and they still won 3-1. So
yeah, and then
they got that crazy goal from Coleman with like 3 seconds left to put them up. Did that put them up by 1, or that they go up by 2 from that?
I think it was up by 1.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
because that was the one game I missed all of. I saw bits of Game 3. I saw all of Game 1 and all of Game 4.
Yeah, then you had Tyler Johnson putting on God mode in Game 3, and it's still funny with Tyler Johnson, with the way he like produces in the playoffs. And this is the guy that got waived like many times during the season, and no team wanted him because of his cap. Like, he's still definitely going to be a name that's probably going to be moved off the Tampa Bay Lightning roster coming to the offseason, just because of his cap hit. And Tampa Bay is going to have to do a major salary crunch this offseason. Yeah.
How about Pat Maroon to tie in the game?
Pat Maroon
on the verge to get 3 straight cups. It's only happened once.
I think Pat Maroon is such a Chad. That's basically what he is. It's like I would love a guy like Pat Maroon on our team. I wish whatever happened between him and the Flyers organization didn't happen, and he was still. But it is what it is at this point. It's fun to see him like do his own like little run of a dynasty. From like, hopefully it does come out in his favor and win a cup. But yeah, Game 4 yesterday, Tampa Bay had all the chances in the world to win the cup with a 4-minute power play at the end of the third period and going into the overtime.
Yeah. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, how the hell do you think Weber feels right now? Like, captain just took a 4-minute high stick with a minute left in the third of an elimination game to get swept at home in the Stanley Cup Finals. And he's like, dude, he's probably sitting there like, holy shit. Like, this might happen. And he's probably their best defensive penalty killer. So, like, you're like, oh, my God. And that was probably one of the – dude, somebody said – I don't know who it was last night. It might have been Brian Boucher that – I don't believe this unless he said it the wrong way, but Tampa hasn't scored a power play goal in the whole playoffs.
No.
I was like, there's no way that.
No.
I don't know. I don't know if he meant the final, but he said playoffs. So I was very confused. I was like, there's no way that's like. I'm like, their power play is too good to not have scored a power play.
Tampa Bay has the best power play throughout the playoffs. Montreal's the best penalty kill throughout the play, and Tampa Bay scored a couple of power play goals early on in the series. So I'm not sure if Boucher. I think they didn't score a power play. Like they had 5 power plays in Game 4 and couldn't score. So did
they score a power play goal in Game 1? I was like, no way, that's true, right?
Yeah, they scored a power play goal in Game 1.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if like Bush butchered on that statement, or I don't know.
I'm not trying to harp on him. I just didn't know. I was like, there's no way that's true.
But it's just like, this final, like we said earlier, it's a snooze fest. But yesterday, honestly, yes, it was the more entertaining game because Montreal, once again, they came out with probably the worst possible energy. Tampa Bay just dominating early on. You got Braden Point hitting the crossbar on a power play. Yeah. And then Montreal, they get their own little jump with Josh Anderson and Nick Suzuki. And then it like basically the description of hockey, one team that dominates and the other team that's getting dominated ends up scoring the first goal of the game. Basic description.
Yeah. Dude, their power play is so good, Tampa.
It is.
Like you watch them whip the puck around, it's like I'm sitting there watching it like my dad, like I was actually like jumping out of my seat watching. I was like, oh my God, like I thought I was a Lightning fan last night. Like it was insane. And I'm watching it and I'm like, that when Point hit that crossbar, I'm like, oh, Kucherov's gonna fire this, and then he gets it. It's like such a soft pass, and then Point just fires it. It's like, oh my God! And then you got
Hedman hitting the post in the second period. You got Kucherov hitting the post late in the third period. Mm-hmm. It's just like Tampa can't catch a break today.
Yeah. Did you see the thing they did at the end of the first period? The tribute to NHL and NBC.
I did not see that.
They did like a little like tribute to NHL and NBC, and they went through a bunch of stuff from like 05 and on, and they went through like, and of course Doc was the one who was talking behind it and did the narrating for it. And it starts in like 05 when they talk about like adding shootouts, and then there's the stretch pass and all that stuff, and then they kind of went through from like the first Winter Classic in 08 with the Penguins and Sabres. A bunch of the cup wins. They showed all the cup clinching goals from fucking Kane in 2010 to.
Well, of course they're gonna show that. That's just
right. Martinez on the Kings. That's that one. They showed some stuff from Fleury when he was a kid, and then they showed the 09 save, which is arguably one of Doc's best calls ever. They showed so much stuff, and then I actually started crying watching it because they showed Layla from the Blues Cup run, and then they showed her and Colton Parayko. And I looked back, my dad's kind of tearing up too. and watch it. He'll probably deny it, but he definitely was tearing up.
If you're watching this now, is he lying? Is he lying, Ed?
he's probably downstairs working. He's like, this motherfucker. Like, but yeah, like it was like one of the coolest things they did was just have Doc kind of talk through the whole thing. And I sat there, I'm like, the fact that Doc isn't calling this game right now, which could be one of the last games ever, or it could be the last game ever on NHL and NBC. Like, you think they could just bring him out of retirement and do Game 5, do the last 3 games if they play them? Like,
nah.
It would be literally the coolest thing if they had him do the last game.
It would be very cool, but I honestly don't see that happening.
I don't think it'll happen either, but it will be awesome.
Yeah, that would be, but yeah, he's enjoying his retirement, and I know ESPN announced like all the broadcast group for I think them. I don't think TNT announced their full. I know Kenny Albert and is going to be the main guy for TNT, but I know ESPN like they put like a bunch of like all their different analysts and play-by-play people. I think it was in a picture. I think it's on Twitter somewhere. I forget the specifics. I know Messier is going to be an analyst for ESPN. I know Bush is going to be on ESPN. So there's a lot of different people. I know Hextall's
Ray Ferraro is too, I think.
Hextall's cousin is going to be a play-by-play voice. So there's a lot of interesting people, a lot of well-versed announcers. So ESPN and TNT is definitely going to be something hopefully more enjoyable to watch, and hopefully it gets the ratings of the NHL up, especially in the United States, because that's something the NHL definitely needs. But yeah, just still with this game, it's just like I think about it. I'm just like, man, how does Tampa Bay come out in that overtime with 3 minutes on a power play and play that sloppy?
Yeah, I know.
I'm just
That's the thing. Like I'm watching. I'm like, this is probably their worst power play of the night.
I'm just like, how do you not? Okay, we didn't score in the final minute of the game. Okay, we still got 3 minutes of power play going into the start of OT.
Mm-hmm.
How are you not in the locker room? Okay, boys, we got 3 minutes to score a goal. Let's go out there and fucking win a cup. How the hell do you not do that? Because it looked like it was a 5-on-5 at most times because Montreal getting their rushes down the ice. Knicks is all that.
And then you got to think too. Tampa's probably like, all right, we have a chance to win the cup here, and then it starts getting in your head like, it's got to be the perfect play. And then you start overthinking stuff. And then Montreal's like, well, this is our season right here. So this got to be the best kill ever. And our captain's in the box. So it's, you know what I mean? So it's like, it all just kind of goes hand in hand. But
and also, did you see the Tampa Bay Mayor? I think it was like before the game. She said that, maybe the Lightning should let Montreal win game 4 so they can bring it back to Tampa Bay. Like,
I was stepped in your eve and I was like, this is the stupidest fucking thing this lady could have ever said. Why would you tell them to take it easy? Like, what?
Because honestly, now game 5, I want Tampa Bay to lose just so it could shut her up.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to lose now. Just because, okay, you brought this upon yourself. I want the chaos to happen so you lose.
Yeah. So the one thing I do want to bring it up here because it's on my phone. I want to go back to what you were saying with NBC or NBC and the ESPN. It's so basically everybody that they have, it's Mark Messier, Chelios, Ray Ferraro, Brian Boucher, Casey Campbell Pascal, Kevin Weeks, Ryan Callahan, AJ Malesko, Rick DiPietro, and Hillary Knight, and then Barry Melrose too. Play-by-play commentary is going to be Sean McDonough and Steve Levy. I'm trying to figure out who else. John Bucci-Gross and Bob Woodchusen, and then Leah Hextall as well. And then also Kenny Albert and Keith Jones, right? Or are they TNT?
I think those guys are TNT. I think also
I think Brian Burke is also
going to be on TNT as well.
Yeah, I know Brian Burke is going to be on there.
He is?
Yeah, but you know Brian Burke, right? The Islanders.
Why am I drawing a blank?
Brian Burke, he did the Islanders. He did a couple series. He used to do it for the Islanders, and he's started doing games for NBC.
Brian Burke, isn't he the Penguins president?
No, there's another one, Brian Burke.
Oh, there is. I am drawing a complete blank then, so I have no idea.
Yeah, Brian Burke, the announcer. Or I might be thinking of somebody different. Am I? You
might be thinking of
I'm
something
not
different.
drawing a blank here, am I?
Oh boy,
this isn't good. Amedeo, I might really be effing this up.
Chris Mayer exposed.
Yeah, honestly. Why can't I figure it out? All right. I'm just going to look up the hockey commentator and try to figure it out because there's no way I can't. Oh, Brendan Burke. I'm sorry. Oh, my God. Brendan Burke.
Yeah, Flyers correct. He is the other. You got the first name wrong.
Yeah, sorry about that. Jesus Christ. Oh, my God. All right, move on. I just made myself look stupid. Brendan Burke, yes. I kept calling Brian Burke. I was like, what am I doing?
Yep, Brendan Burke. Honestly, I was just in complete silence just to let Chris do his entire thing.
Yeah, because you were like, what? And I was like, yeah, I'm definitely messing this up, or he's drawing a really blank because you usually don't forget stuff like that for that long.
Hey, I know he did some of the rounds this year in the playoffs, but it's just like it's an obscure. Like I know like Brian Burke. That Brian Burke is the guy for the Penguins. He's their president. He's works with Hextall. That's not the guy you're talking about. I have no idea who you're talking about then. I think you're just a schmuck at this point. What the hell are you talking to me about?
Right.
But, yeah. So, off that topic, back to the game. Well, game 5, actually. So, you get the overtime goal. You get Josh Anderson with a great play by Cole Caulfield to keep the play even going. And then you got Josh Anderson falling flat on his ass as he's scoring the goal. You get an arena in Bell Center where it's like 3,500 is the capacity, sounding like a full house at this point.
Isn't that the most like irony thing? Like you have 35,000 or
3,500.
3,500. Sorry. Oh my God, I really can't talk today. 3,500, right? Inside, and then you have like 25,000 people outside at the Bell Center, all packed together. Like, it is the stupidest thing.
Makes no sense.
It makes absolutely no sense.
It makes no sense.
15 to 20,000 people outside, maybe 10,000, and they're outside, all packed together. But you can't open the doors and put them inside. One, you'd make a shit ton more money, right? You could even jack up ticket prices because people would pay it. Yeah, I was gonna say there definitely were more than 3,500 people.
I remember seeing like the Canadian government was only capping at 3,500.
I think they put it up. If I'm being honest with you, because they had to, because there's no way, because the lower bowl looked like it was probably 6,000, and that was just a lower bowl.
Because I don't remember seeing any type of announcement that they upped the capacity. The last thing I remember, even going into before Game 3, that the Canadian government was not allowing even more attendance. It was still going to be 3,500. Unless I'm completely wrong about that, but I solely remember the Canadian government not upping the attendance at all. That's what I remember. And I don't remember any type of announcement saying they were going to up it. But
so for Game 3, it was 3,500.
Okay. Did they up it in Game 4?
This is from 6 days ago. It says games 3 and 4 is only 3,500. There's no way. There's absolutely no way that there was only 3,500 people. Dude, you can go back and you look at the intro from the game, unless they spread them out really well. But
they probably spread them out really well. Yeah, wow. So I don't remember anything on them raising the attendance at all. So yeah, I think that's and. If you go to Game 6, are they going to raise the attendance? Probably not, because the Canadian government's been very stubborn for this entire situation, and their entire thing hasn't really made sense. But I'm not going to complain anymore about that. But if the Montreal Canadiens force a Game 6, who knows what the hell happens? But at this point in the finals, all the pressure is on Tampa Bay. All the pressure is on Tampa Bay to win Game 5, because honestly, if you lose Game 5, you don't want to go back to Montreal for Game 6. Like, I know Tampa Bay, they know how to close out the games. They know how to close out a cup. But you can't be. You
imagine if it's like one of them Tampa things, and I know you probably think it's weird that I'm saying this because I watch Flyers, but like it's one of them things where it's like they win the cup and then they have a 3-0 series lead and they get reverse swept in the cup, and then they go back to like that final kind of choke thing. Could you imagine they did that? I don't think they will. I think they win it on the month, but like, oh my god,
I don't think that's going to happen. I do think they win it at least six. But
I think if you simulated this cup final from right now on 10,000 times, that wouldn't happen once.
I think the probability might happen at least. Like, I think it's like one in like maybe
it's probably
a million.
Percent. Yeah, it's probably like a 0.1% chance.
But knowing EA Sports' NHL sim generator, Montreal probably reverse swept them probably like 5 straight times in a row. Because
their original sim had them winning in 6.
They did, I know that.
Yeah.
So you never know. EA might be biased towards Montreal. Never know.
Dude, and speaking of like finals, did you see that tweet the other day that came out? And it was like this guy from like 2016. He put out a tweet. It was like Bucks Suns 2021 NBA Finals. Let's get Bucks in 6. It was like the craziest thing, and I was like, "How the hell?" It was from like I think it was from like August of 2016 or something.
Man, he was probably really pushing for a Bucks Suns final, and
Yeah.
Okay, I need to think of an obscure date to have this final, so you never know. I might not be criticized for it eventually, and then somehow this guy eventually has it become true, which is hilarious. But
Yeah, he was University of Wisconsin junior. He predicted the Bucks Suns would meet the 2021 NBA Finals in 2016. Yeah, the tweets from 6:39 p.m. on November 3rd, 2016, and the tweet is at P capital P lowercase LAHM1, and it says 2021 NBA Finals Bucks versus Suns Game 7 Bucks win 123-115. It probably was dug up because the guy had it pinned for forever, but it says 8,770 retweets, 5,795 quote tweets, and 27,200 likes. That's like that's just insane. Like I don't even. I'm going to send this to you because it's literally the coolest thing.
I wonder how many follows he got after that. After seeing that tweet blow up, he's just probably like, "Wow, this blew up." Well, expecting it because you predicted it, but you never know. Now it will be something that the Bucks actually do win in 6, which honestly I don't think they will. I do think the Suns eventually get that done, just because I want to see Chris Paul finally win a championship. But I guess that's not a topic for the Florida podcast. We're not a basketball podcast, so we have no idea what the hell we're talking about.
I mean, you do, but I don't.
I somewhat know what I'm talking about.
Who you think wins?
I do think the Suns win.
I think the Suns will win too, but I don't know a damn thing about basketball.
Yeah, I just like watching Devin Booker. I like watching Chris Paul. I like watching that team play. Just they're a fun team to watch.
Yeah, they look like I just spit up my mouth. They look like they've been on a roll since the playoffs started.
Yeah,
they look like one of them teams. Like, yeah, they're gonna win.
And right now, with the Bucks and Giannis being really questionable, I don't think he's gonna be playing Game 1. That's gonna be tough.
He's hurt, right?
He's hurt. That like really cringy knee injury that he got, where he hyperextended his knee. It makes me cringe every time I watch it. But like that's gonna be tough for the Bucks. Like I know they overcome the Hawks, but I think it's going to be even more tough to overcome the Phoenix Suns team. But back into the topic of hockey. Game 5, it's going to be Wednesday night in Tampa Bay. All the pressure is going to be on Tampa Bay to win the Cup. Montreal, they're a team that's taking it one game at a time. They have nothing left to lose. It's going to be – hopefully it becomes exciting, and hopefully it's not a blowout, because that would be boring. I want to see excitement. I want to see a one-goal game. I want to see a game won in overtime. That's what I want to see. I want to see this series. I just don't want it to end. That's why I was so pushing for this game to not be a sweep. And thank God it wasn't. But hopefully, Montreal, I just want you to win it so I can go at least 6 games watching the Stanley Cup Finals. I don't want to be in 5. Because honestly, this series is shaping up to be one of the worst Stanley Cup Finals in history. Probably in a long time.
I don't know. I mean, like for me, one of the worst finals was 2016, the Penguins and the Sharks.
Oh yeah, that finals was so boring.
Yeah, it wasn't really boring. It's like I don't know. I don't really ever think it's boring. It's just like it's just two teams you never really would think would be in it. But then again, once it happens, it's like holy shit, it's a Cup final. So it's like. You still get the excitement from the Cup final, but
at least Nashville-Pittsburgh was more energetic.
That was a great series
because you had the games in Nashville where the crowd was absolutely electric. Mm-hmm. And like I know the Vegas-Washington series that went 5 games only, but
that was finally seeing finals in the last 20 years.
You're finally seeing Ovechkin win a cup going up against a team that was an expansion team.
Yeah, that was one of the best finals in the last 20 years, in my opinion. I mean. I'd say if we had to rank finals, I'd say the top 5 from probably the last 20 years. I'd say 2001 with Bork is probably the best one. And this is literally in no particular order. I'd say 2018, 2014 with the Kings, probably 2007 with the Ducks. That was a good one. And probably 08.
Wait. I thought you said 2007 every time you told me that was the worst finals you've ever seen.
It is, but out of all the other ones, it's like it's still like it's good, but it's not. I don't know how to describe it. It's like when I look back and I compare it to the other ones, it's not as bad. But when you look at, because so many of them are like rival teams with the Flyers. Like the Penguins won twice. 10 was against the Flyers. Fucking the Capitals was another one, but that's still a good one.
I mean,
but 07 wasn't that bad.
You got
I think about it.
Look at it from not from a Flyers bias standpoint, because the Pittsburgh and Detroit series were very fun to watch. Those were amazing series. And I know, granted, the Chicago Flyers series, it didn't end the way we wanted to, but that wasn't the games in Philadelphia were fun. The games in Chicago were kind of either blowouts or just
game one was like crazy.
Yeah, game one was probably the only entertaining game in Chicago. I know game two, Chicago, I think it was a low scoring game. Game 5 was really not bad.
Game 5 was like, wasn't like 5-2 or something?
I think so. Then you have the 2011 final between Boston and Vancouver. That was fun to watch. Although Vancouver had so many chances to win the goddamn cup and it didn't. It showed.
Yeah, it was 6-5 game 1, 2-1 game 2. Flyers won 4-3 in game 3, 5-3 in game 4, 7-4 in game 5.
Yeah, there you go.
So, yeah, that was the problem. I mean, if they were able to,
if they had a goaltender, they probably could have won that cup.
Probably, but Chicago was so good.
Yeah, Chicago was all, but still, it doesn't matter if you have the hot goaltender, you can do anything.
Yeah,
because honestly, if look at
if game 1 or 2 goes the Flyers' way, like you don't know how the series goes. Then, honestly, it makes me think if they even go to the Cup final if they have a healthy team. You know, it's just that how that season's written up. Like, and then when they fucking reverse sweep Boston, it's like, dude, how do you know what I mean? Like, nobody would predict this stuff.
Yeah, but then it just turns into a story of what ifs. But at that point, it becomes it is what it is. And right now, we got to focus on this Flyers team, which is just it makes me want to pull my hair out. Well, Philadelphia sports honestly makes me want to pull my hair out. The Flyers are like a quarter of that. Then you got the Phillies, then you got the Sixers, then you got the Eagles. But
the worst part about this game 1 is, as I'm looking at the score, the Flyers had the lead 1, 2, 3 times.
It sounds like the Flyers this year.
1-0, 3-2, and 4-3, and then tied it, went down 5-4, tied it again, and then went down 6-5.
That sounds a lot like the Flyers this year.
Yeah. I mean, the first period, it was 3. After the first, it was 3-2 Flyers.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we're going towards. So, do you think Tampa Bay wins Game 5, or do you think Montreal forces 6? Before we go into the Seth Jones topic,
Tampa in 5.
Tampa in 5.
Yeah, but I wouldn't mind it because then if they did lose, then my prediction could still be right because they could still win in 6. So if I were to get one right, I'd like the games too, just to add that to it. But I would like the.
Chris just wants his prediction right for once.
Yeah, I don't think I had a single one right the whole playoffs. So
you probably haven't a single one right in your entire career of predictions.
You know what, Amedeo? Screw
you. So you got Tampa. I honestly do think Tampa Bay does win in Game 5, but I would love Montreal to force a Game 6 just because I want the series to go on for as long as possible. But you never know what happens. That'll be Wednesday, so we'll find out then. So let's go on to the Philadelphia Flyers topic. Seth Jones, as always, is probably the main topic in Flyers country for the time being, until the Flyers eventually do make a move for something. But I think there was reports coming from one of the Columbus Blue Jackets writers from The Athletic. He was stating all the top teams or teams that have done their due diligence for Seth Jones, and he listed the 4 teams that are favorited to land Seth Jones or teams that can land the best offer for him. And those 4 teams are the Chicago Blackhawks, the Los Angeles Kings, the Colorado Avalanche, and the Philadelphia Flyers. Some of those 4 teams I could see making sense. The Flyers definitely make sense because they need a top-pairing defenseman. The Kings, they're a team that has a lot of young talent. They still have a lot of their veterans that are at the midst of their primes, like Doughty, Kopitar, and they have a young goaltender in Pettersson, so they can work something there possibly to get a Seth Jones. They have a lot of pieces that they could trade off. Chicago is probably the team that I would say makes the least sense, in my opinion. I know they have the pieces that they can offer, but then you have the rumors about Duncan Keith, one and most likely to be traded to the Pacific Northwest. and a team you're most likely to hear in the rumors. You got Seattle most likely coming into the mix. A team like Edmonton could possibly he be traded to. Vancouver, I know, is a team in the Pacific Northwest, but honestly, that would sound like a Jim Benning type of move, trading for a veteran that makes that much money. That is a major decline, but it's weird with Chicago because you have.
I can't see Chicago. They're trying to get rid of Keith. Why would they want to?
Because didn't ownership also tell the fans that they were going into a rebuild mode too?
Yeah.
So why would you trade for Seth Jones? That's the part that doesn't. Like, I know you still have Jonathan Taves, you still have Patrick Kane. Those guys want to compete still. I can understand that entirely.
Right. I mean, when you openly admit to a rebuild, I wouldn't really know if a guy like Jones would want to go there in his prime years of his career.
And then the team is still very young.
When he hasn't really been on a team that's going that far,
and they're still not that good.
Right.
And also you have Taves and Kane making $10+ million, and whatever Seth Jones wants is his contract extension. Would you really want to tie up that much money between three players?
Well, the thing is he's not extending.
That's
anybody.
That's also the one thing that
if the Flyers cannot get him to re-sign at any point, they're not going to trade for him.
Yeah,
Why would they give up? Why would they give up a trade like Konechny or Farabee or Myers or Sanheim, the first round pick, whatever prospect you want to throw in there? I don't give a shit.
Because that's the thing. If he doesn't want to sign an extension, the price shouldn't be that much. Like, no, I'm not going to give up
trade for him. Why would you even trade for him then if he's not going to sign?
I'll give you the minimalist thing for Seth Jones because it's not guaranteed. I'll give you a first round pick for Seth Jones. That's it. Maybe I'll low to your prospect. But I'm not going to give you all this crap for a guy that's not even sure he's going to re-sign with our team. Like, if he says that he's going to re-sign with our team, okay, then we're talking. Then we can work something out. But it's the same thing with the Colorado. Like, I know a lot of people are saying he wants to go to Colorado, but Colorado is also a team. Like, I know they have a lot of cap space right now, but if you look at what they have to go through right now, they have 4 key guys that they have to re-sign this offseason. You got Cale Makar, obvious RFA. He's going to expect a big payday unless he goes the Matt Barzal route and takes a bridge deal. Then you got Phil Grubauer, who was a Vezina finalist this year. You got you got your captain Gabriel Landeskog, and you also got Brendan Saad. I don't think Saad's going to be that much money, but then you got your captain, who's most likely going to want to pay a raise. You got a goaltender that was a Vezina finalist; he's going to want to pay a raise, and you got Cale Makar, who's going to get a hefty payday as well. And then somewhere down the line when Nathan McKinnon's contract expires, imagine that payday. I know he also said he doesn't want that big of an extension or that big of money, but he's going to make more money than what he's getting right now. Come on, he's going to get at least 8, 9, 10 million.
Right.
Like, a guy Nathan McKinnon's stature, he can't be making less than 10 mil. Come on.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like if the Flyers are just going to try to get somebody like I keep seeing Adam Larson and like Savard, and I'm like, dude, like I don't want these guys. Like if they're going to go and get somebody, then go and get somebody. Don't just fill the hole to fill the hole. Like that's Larson wouldn't be bad. If you want to add another defenseman, add another defenseman.
I don't mind Larson. Larson's not a top pairing guy.
No, he's not. And I don't know if any of those other guys are going to fill that role. That's why that's why I'd want a guy like Ekman Larson or a guy like Ellis or something like that. Or Ekholm too. Either or. That's it.
I remember seeing your live stream with Martinez, and you were talking about Ekman Larson, and I know you're a guy that's high. Like I just don't like it's that contract that really just pushes me off of him because he really just hasn't been the same.
I think if you could get Arizona to eat cap, I would do it.
I don't think they're going to though. That's the problem, especially on a flag. I just don't have that feeling they would.
They have all the cap space in the world. They are in no particular spot to be doing a single thing. If you're a team that is like Arizona, that you can barely even afford to stay in your own building, then I'm not 100% sure that they would even be trying to be making the playoffs or doing anything like that. So they've already been open to eating up contracts. They took Pronger's contract from the Flyers, traded for Sam Gagner years ago. They took Datsuk's contract from the Red Wings. Like they've eaten money before, I know it's years ago, but still.
But that was also a different regime there. That was the other general manager that stepped down. There's a new guy. Who knows if they're open to even taking money? That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm very skeptical about getting a guy like OEL, just because I just don't. I feel like if you're going after Ekman-Larsson, you're going into another Voracek contract situation. That's just my opinion on the entire thing. Yeah. I don't think Ekman-Larsson is a terrible player. I don't think it's what the team needs. Like, I know he's a right shot defenseman. He can play a top pair, but it's that contract that scares me.
Yeah. Well, he's left-handed, but
he's left-handed.
Right, yeah.
No, I thought he was right-handed for some reason.
No,
that shows to you that I don't watch Arizona Coyotes games.
Yeah, he is left-handed, but he can play the right side. That's the thing.
Because I'm trying to think of what are the I know you have Dougie Hamilton out there, but right now I'm more pro Seth Jones than going after Dougie Hamilton, just because Dougie Hamilton is not guaranteed. And do you want to pay that much? I know you should do your due diligence. You should go after Dougie Hamilton, but do you want to go after a guy, give him a 7-year contract, giving you a 7-year contract? Most likely that's what he wants at the money that he wants for a guy who knows if he's going to have that same production that he had with Carolina, and is he going to pan out here? Is he going to like the pressure that he's going to get from the Philadelphia fan base? Because Dougie Hamilton is a guy that didn't like playing in Boston, didn't like playing it or a Canadian market like Calgary, and he played in a very small market like Carolina. So that's something to think about too.
It doesn't seem like he's really like that either. I mean, unless it's just the management or whoever who wants him gone, but that would be the stupidest thing in the world. So I have no idea. There was something that I just saw on Twitter that came out with Kiv Lennox. He was at his goalie coach's house when that happened.
Oof.
So it was like a just-in thing that came up on my phone. I saw it on Twitter and then I was on ESPN. But going back to what you're saying, Jones, I don't know. I mean, or Hamilton, sorry. Hamilton, I have no idea, because he's a guy that's if you look at him, and again, I've said this before, and I know you just said it too, but he didn't like Boston, he didn't like Calgary. I don't know if he would like Philly, and who's to say if it's all going to go right when he gets here? I don't think the one guy is going to fix this defense.
Oh, no way in hell.
As a collective unit, they got to be better, and that's kind of obvious, but
it's what we're talking about with the Flyers and what they need to be fixed. Yeah. This is stuff that honestly can't be. They're trying to fix everything in one offseason, which honestly isn't realistic. You can't
not
fix
necessarily
everything.
Because a lot of the things that they have to fix are fixable over a offseason period of time. If guys can get in shape, get better, and you have to hope, because it's the one thing they do is you have to hope that your guys are going to come in ready to play and that they're going to get better. You can't. I think it would be it would really shock me if guys like Myers and Sanheim took another step back. It really would. I can't see it happening again.
I mean, I don't expect those guys to take steps back. Definitely not. But when you're at the point where you went into this upcoming season, or actually previous season, and Chuck Fletcher really. He signed Gustafsson, really didn't address the situation with Matt Niskanen. He probably expected those guys to take the next step. Do you honestly want to go into that risk again? I can understand I don't envy Chuck Fletcher's job at all, but I can understand going into that situation. Well, okay, I tried relying on the young guys to take the next step. I can't do that again, because Sanheim took a step back, Myers took a step back, Konechny took 10 steps back. The only guy that really took a step
forward. I don't even really think Konechny took steps back. I don't understand why everybody keeps saying this.
He was brutal, dude. He
wasn't that bad as everybody was making it to be. People made it the guy was invisible. I know he didn't score in the playoffs, but that's the season before.
And he had a bad season this year.
As the guy, he wasn't great. Could he have been better? Yes, but everybody could have. The only guy who was actually good was probably Giroux and Farabee. Maybe Voracek. And even at times, they were bad. So, but I thought Konechny was okay. I mean, regardless of him not putting up points, I thought he still contributed. He was very good at times with that line when they put him with Gene Voracek. They had him there for a while when they were close to, and still kind of in the playoff push. But I don't really think Konechny was that bad as what everybody was making it to be. I get it. You know, he didn't score in the playoffs, and he was your all-star the year before, and then he did nothing. As I said, he did nothing in the playoffs, and then he kind of didn't have the best season. But I don't think it's time to give up on the guy or anything like that.
I'm not saying I'm giving up on him either. I'm just saying he needs to be way better than what he is. That's my. He needs to go back to what he did previous seasons when he was an all-star. He needs to be that 25-plus goal scorer. He needs to be that 60-plus point player that we know he can be, but then he also needs to play on lines where he's going to get the puck, where he's going to shoot, where he's going to get points on the second line, the first line. But it's like it's not at that point where, like, no, I definitely don't want to get rid of Travis Konechny, but if the trade came to where you got a player that really helped the team and it made your team a lot better, like, okay, if Konechny is the guy that you have to get rid of to get this, like, guy that you really, really want and a guy that's really going to help the team, okay, I'm fine with pulling the trigger because you got to get rid of something to get something back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
exactly. You have to give to get, and that's the thing. Yeah. I mean, but then again, you got to look for what's more bang for your buck, I guess. You can't necessarily just throw things out there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want them to overpay, though. So I think they got to be smart with it. The Kraken just announced 2 of their assistant head coaches that Hackstall picked. It's so this is from the article from NHL.com. It says, when Dave Hackstall was announced as the Kraken's first head coach in late June, it was clear he empowered to choose his first assistant coaches. The first 2 selections are Paul McFarland, who was an NHL assistant coach with Florida and Toronto, and then Jay Leach, who was this past season was head coach of the Providence Bruins, which was the top team in the AHL this past year. Nice. So 2 kind of out of the box hires for the Kraken. So I guess they're going with a whole new kind of coaching staff. But just one quick thing to mention as we were doing this. The Kraken, they're going to be doing their due diligence. They're going to be hiring people and getting very close to the expansion draft. What is that, like 2 weeks away at least at this point? What is it, July 21st? Yeah, we got literally 2 weeks. Yeah, so that's definitely going to be because the finals are most likely the latest will end is Sunday because that's technically when Game 7 is. But if you'll have the most likely, I would assume, the final. If they do end on Wednesday in Game 5, then you'll have basically nothing for an entire 2.5 weeks until the expansion draft, the NHL awards, the NHL draft, everything, all that. Well, not the NHL awards. The awards have already been handed out. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm talking about. My brain is melted, as you can see. But yeah, expansion draft. It's a weird. It's still like because my thinking about the expansion draft and all that with the Flyers offseason moves, it's like I'm trying not to get my hopes entirely up. I'm like, of course, the Flyers are going to make moves. Like you possibly cannot do this offseason without making a move. That would be idiotic. And if the Flyers somehow did not make a move, I would want to burn that franchise to the ground because, you know, I would. Yeah. They have to make moves. They're going to be within I know all the rumors are stating Seth Jones is going to be traded by the draft, before the draft, on draft day, whatever happens. Something's going to happen. I think the Flyers are definitely going to be in the mix for one of these big names. Whatever it's going to be, I have no idea what's going to happen. Are we going to be disappointed? Are we going to be excited? I have no idea. At this point, we just take it day by day. Whatever happens, happens. That's all we can do at this point because we don't know what the Flyers are doing. No, I agree. And I think that's the thing. It's like I mean, as much as we sit here and we talk about what could happen and what we want to happen and all these things of who they give up and everything, this stuff is so hard to predict. It's like you have absolutely no idea. I'm sure most of the stuff we've probably said is not going to happen. It's very rare if you're completely on point with this stuff, and nobody really is.
Yeah, no one's right at all with their predictions. So getting off the Flyers topic before we end off the show, let's go into a little bit of some fun topics talking about the NHL draft coming up. Our good old buddy Tyson Quibel posted his final draft rankings for the upcoming NHL draft. So I'm going to bring my screen up currently. So if everyone can see it right there, we go. So This is the website for the Painted Lions. Definitely go check that out if you want to read it by yourself. So let's go over Tyson's rankings. I know, Chris, have you been keeping up with the NHL draft at all, with like your prospects and all that?
Some of it, not too much. I know like the first round, but I've really got to start looking at some stuff for rounds two through 7, because there's really a lot that I got to start doing.
Yeah, I don't think we'll go through this entire list, because when you're going down to like the top 30 at this point. Like we'll go like where the Flyers they select at 13, 14. So we'll look around up to that point where possibly the Flyers could land in the draft, and let's see what players they can get. But Tyson right now, let's start with his number 1 ranked prospect in the draft. He's going to go with obviously Owen Power. He's the number 1 ranked prospect in this NHL draft. And who knows? He did say that he's going back to Michigan. So most likely if Buffalo does select him, he's not going to be playing in the NHL this upcoming season. So that's probably Owen Power saying, "Get me the hell out of Buffalo already. I don't want to play for you." So, Chris, what do you think about Owen Power? That's probably hasn't already been said about him.
Yeah, I think that would make a lot of sense. Power is. I watched him with Michigan. He's very good. He's more of like he's. It's hard to kind of describe how he plays. Like I can't really think of like an NHL comparable to him, but. And again, I don't mean that in any comparing him to that player. Like he's going to be that guy. I just mean who he reminds me of. There's just I remember from seeing him like Michigan State with York, and then looking at Power too. I mean, it's very similar the way that the two of them play. I know Power is bigger. He's what I can't read this thing. He's what 6'5".
Yes, he is.
Yeah, 6'5". I mean, he's bigger, but he can move the puck. He's mobile. Obviously, big body and everything. So, it would make sense if Buffalo were to take Power, but I don't know. I mean, they could probably because the thing is, we don't even know who's number 1. Like it's either Power, Beniers, or somebody else is what you keep hearing. So, I don't know, yes. But my guess would be Buffalo probably takes Power.
So let's continue going down the draft rankings. So Tyson has the 2nd overall prospect in his rankings. He has Dylan Guenther from Edmonton in the WHL. So I know he's like one of the top goal scorers in the juniors this year. So let's continue just going over this draft ranking, because I know, Chris, you're tight on schedule. So let's quickly go over. So he has his 3rd best prospect in his draft ranking, Luke Hughes, another Hughes brother, a defenseman for the USHL. So I know all the rumors about Luke Hughes. Is he going to get drafted by one of his brother's teams, the Devils or the Canucks? So you never know what's going to happen. But one team that drafts Luke Hughes is most likely getting a very good NHL defenseman. And it's funny, too, because the United States Development League has been developing a lot of great young talent really recently. And it's really fun to see a lot of USA products go up higher in the draft as years go along. So you got number 4, you got Brent Clark, another defenseman, and Tyson's rankings. You got Matthew Beniers, his 5th best prospect from Michigan. So I know it was talked about, is Beniers going to be drafted over Owen Power? Is he going to go 2nd overall? Is he going to go 3rd overall? Tyson has him at 5th. So he's a guy that could maybe he could be your top line center for the future. You never know. Maybe he could be a top 2 center of your team for the future. Let's see how Beniers develops, and let's see who drafts him. His 6th best prospect, William Eklund, from the SWEHL, that's a Swiss junior league. He's a really good prospect. Simon Edvidson from the SWEHL. And also you got the best goaltender in the draft at number 8 in his prospect ranking, Jesper Wallstedt. So that, honestly, he could be a franchise. I know last year, Askarov, he got drafted by the Nashville Predators. This is a prospect, honestly, that could be better than Askarov.
Yeah.
He's probably one of the best goaltending drafts since Vasilevsky.
He's been there with Sweden. I remember seeing him with Sweden on the World Juniors the past few years, and he's been incredible.
Yeah, he is fantastic to watch, and he is a franchise-changing goaltender for a team that desperately needs him. I wonder, who falls around the 8th spot in the draft this year? I wonder.
The hockey writers, the thing that I'm looking at now is Brent Clark.
Brent Clark.
They have the Flyers at 13 taking Cole Sillinger. That's the one guy that I've penciled in for the Flyers. Sillinger, I did a highlight video for him if anybody wants to check that out. Unbelievable shot. I mean, his release is disgusting. And I know that if that's something everybody has been wanting, I think the Flyers could use that in the prospect system. A guy that can just wire the puck. But, again, that's nothing against them taking York either. I don't want people to think that's what I'm implying. But yes, Sillinger would be fantastic, and he's a center too, and he can score, and he's pretty good at defense. And he's also pretty big. I think he's like 6'3", so yeah, he definitely he's definitely up there. His dad is also Mike Sillinger. He played for the Flyers in 2 years.
Interesting. Yeah. That is also an interesting point. So let's continue going down this list until we get to the Flyers area in the draft rankings. So we got 9, Mason McTavish. He's from the OHL. Then we got 10, we got Kent Johnson from the University of Michigan. Michigan has a lot of prospects in this draft, especially in the high first round. So Michigan getting a lot of representation. You got Chaz Lucius from the USHL at number 11. Then you got Cole Sillinger, what you just brought up, Chris, from the Sioux Falls USHL. And then we got 13, we got Matt Coronado from Chicago of the USHL. So that's around where the Flyers fall. You got Fabian Lysel from the SWEHL at 14. Then you got Mackie, I'm going to butcher this name, Samashkovich from Chicago of the USHL. So this too bad. That definitely wasn't too bad, if I do say so myself. I know at the start of these podcasts, I butchered so many names in a row, so I guess I did a good pronunciation there. But I know we're strapped for time, so I'm not going to go through this entire list fully, but if you definitely want to go check out Tyson's draft rankings, go on thepaintedlines.com. It's one of the latest articles that is posted on there, so definitely go and check that out. Definitely a great read for people that are interested in the draft rankings. But in my personal opinion, I do think the Flyers should trade the draft pick. I just want people to come in for the team now. But
yeah, right. I don't think the Flyers are going to use the pick, but if they do, because crazier things have happened, I wouldn't mind Sillinger. If that's a guy who could drop.
Yeah. And we got a comment from Chris saying we need so much. He goes best player available. Can't afford to miss a guy like a Cole Caulfield again. And I know, Chris Dunn, you want them to draft like a really good. I don't expect them to keep the pick at all. I think they're going to trade it either the Seth Jones trade or for something else entirely.
Yes.
That's what's happening. Mm-hmm. And I know the bunch of rumors that were out there with the Seth Jones trade, it might be Seth Jones Korpisalo, but who knows now with everything that's going on, sadly, with the Columbus organization and Keith Lennox. Hopefully, I wonder if that changes some of the ideas for Columbus, but sadly, that's where they're at right now. And at this point, we just got to take it a day at a time. So I think that's going to do it for this edition of the Flyer Up Podcast. Everyone definitely stay tuned for us for future episodes upcoming. And I'm just thinking of this right now. I think we should definitely do an expansion draft live stream for when the expansion draft happens so we can react to see if Seattle takes something that the Flyers fans want them to take. So that's definitely going to be a fun time. Or we could see some trades happen. We never know. We never know what is going to happen. But that's going to do it for this edition of the Flyer Up Podcast. Chris, I know you got somewhere to be, so definitely go enjoy the rest of your day. People here enjoy the rest of the heat. I'm definitely not going to enjoy that. And for people here that are either first-timers joining a lifelong podcast viewer here, definitely don't forget to follow us on our different Twitter pages. For me, Amedeo Grassia 98. For Chris, it's _Chris Maher. And for YouTube, for me, TTP Sports. And for Chris, it's Flyers Fan Mania 93. Don't forget to check out the Painted Lines everywhere, shape and form. Everything is going to be down in the description. Definitely go click on the subscribe button or just go on their Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, wherever you are at. And thank you for joining this episode of the Flyer Up Podcast. I'm your host, Amedeo Grassia. That is Chris Maher, and we will be back next time. So see you later, everyone.